Hey, it's Avi, and today I'm going over 3 ways that you can write a melody from scratch. If you're new to the channel, welcome, great to have you here. Hit the subscribe button and bell below for more videos helping you just write music. Coming up with a melody can often be a challenge. We've got music to write, so why won't it come out? Don't fret, these 3 techniques are going to help you get out of that problem. So if you're struggling to get going, coming up with a melody, I got you. Here we go. This first technique I call follow the notes. For this method, we're focusing on each and every note and individually gauging the movement to the next note. First thing you want to do is to pick a note or even a key. I'm going to pick D minor. It's really common to start on the root or on the tonic, which is D, so let's do just that. We're starting on D. Cool, we got a first note. So now we're going to take our first note and we're going to start playing other notes in the scale. We're going to go to the other notes in the scale and see which one sticks out to us. That. Going from 1 to 6. I really like that motion there. Cool. As we go into our third note and our fourth note, it's a good idea to have this concept of tension and release as we're going. Does this feel like we're tense or does it feel like we're at rest? But how do we know what we're doing or what we like in the first place? The best way of thinking on a note-to-note basis is in intervals. But it's also important to follow your ear as you're searching for that next note. Make sure that it passes the ear test. Intervals are like a unit of measurement between 2 pitches. They use numbers like scale degrees, but they also have qualities like chords. For example, there's a major third and a minor third. The interval I chose from before was a minor sixth. Once you find the first 2 notes, your first interval, then you can continue going note for note, or you can use a pattern. This could be anything like your interval plus a descending step. Let's try that. Let's see how that sounds. Cool. I like that. I like that. That's something already. Finally, our melody needs a way to end. So I'm going to continue that pattern and that descent as well. I'm going to continue the rhythmic pattern and the descent. And the rhythm just kind of happened, right? I just went... I didn't really need to think about that all that much. And this will be common for you, or you might sit there and think going... that both are fine. See which one your ear likes. Follow your ear here. The ear test is everything, especially in this bass level. So I'm gonna take that pattern and continue down. Okay, but now we need to end it. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna continue the pattern I just did, but I'm going to end on 7 first before going to the repeat, and then the second time I'm gonna end on 2. So I'm gonna do this the first time, and then I'm gonna do this the second time. Having a slightly different resolution in the voicing there is super, super fun. It's gonna sound something like this. Let's take this a step further. I'm gonna add some bass, some drums, maybe a guitar harmony, add some distortion on top of it, because this sounds pretty metal to me, and let's see how it sounds. So that was follow the notes. Let me know what you thought about that below. The next technique I want to talk about involves a more harmonic approach, and I call this one follow the chord tones. For this method, we're going to take a look at the pitches within a chord, or the chord tones, and we're going to use those to find the starting notes for our melody. So the first thing we need to do is choose 1 or 2 chords to get us started. I'm going to stick with D minor because that's pretty easy. And the next chord I'm going to choose is C. We're going to have a 1 going down to a flat 7, major 7, going back to 1. That's gonna be our thing. We're solidly in D minor here, but the beauty of this method is we don't even really need to think about keys or even pitches. Especially on guitar, I can choose any of the notes in this D minor chord shape, and they're all going to sound good over it. Chord tones are guaranteed to sound good when played over the chord they belong to. This is extremely, extremely useful. I can choose any of the notes in this D minor chord shape and it's going to sound good or at least passable. But what about that C? Well, the same thing applies to the C. We can choose any of the notes in the C chord, and it's going to sound good or passable. The important thing here is to move with or around the harmony as it changes. Now let's break this down to the fundamentals. We're using just basic major and minor chords. Minor and major chords have 3 notes to them: the root, the third, and the fifth. And each of them is going to have their own character when played over the chord. So for our starting note, all we need to do is pick a note from the chord. I'm gonna pick F here. I like the way that sounds. Now for C, we wanna do the same thing. I'm gonna choose the C down here. Something like that. I like kind of a jump there. So far we have F going down to C, going down a fourth, not a bad thing, not a bad thing at all, sounds good. Then let's go down to the fifth of each chord. So we're gonna do an A here, going down to a G, right? So we have just sort of this descending line. Not too bad, pretty good, but a little static, a little bland. To make this a little bit more interesting, I wanna add a little ornamentation, a little turn, hammer on, pull off, turn on the F going down from F to E, before we go down to the C, like that. We're gonna do the same thing on the A, and we're gonna go up to the B flat, do the turn, and then go back down to the G. Great, great, so now we just need a way to resolve this. We started on the third up here, so let's end on the third down here. So to end it, we're just gonna do a 2, 3, like that. Let's see how this sounds with some more instruments. So that was follow the chord tones. We're just choosing a couple chords, figuring out the notes that are in them, and then using those as our starting pitches, because we know they're going to sound good. Easy wins. Awesome. So for the third and final technique, what I want to show you is how to steal from an existing melody. Now we're thinking like a great writer, at least according to a bunch of old, dead white dudes. This technique is best described by a quote: "Good artists borrow or imitate. Great artists steal." One of my favorite artists and composers ever is Claude Debussy, the classical composer. So we're going to steal one of his most famous melodies, the opening to Clair de Lune, and come up with something new out of it. Let's hear it. Let's hear the beginning of Clair de Lune really quick. This technique allows us to take the things we love from the artists we love and make them our own. It's the ultimate form of flattery and innovation. First, let's find the things that stand out to me. I really love that iconic octave jump right at the beginning. Those thirds harmonies are also super gorgeous, so we're keeping those. Yes, please to that too. I really love the descent of this melody as well. We jump up that octave, and then we are kind of retracing our steps back down. Eventually going back down to the root where we started, which is super cool. The trick to doing this successfully is to find the things you like we've been doing, but also to find at least 2 or 3 things to change or do the opposite of that's happening in the original melody. We're gonna use the same starting chord-ish of F minor, right? So we're just gonna be chilling there, because that's sort of the intonation we're getting right now. So we're gonna keep the octave jump. So we're keeping that, but we need to change something. So let's get rid of the harmony on the first note. So we're just gonna hit the F. Just like that. Also, instead of jumping right to the octave like Debussy does, right? Let's hold on to that first note just a little bit. Instead of doing, let's do. So we're gonna hang on that first note and then immediately descend with our thirds harmony. Cool. So now let's change that pattern just a little bit. Let's go up and then back down again so that we can find our place to resolve. right? So we're hanging on, going back down, and even down further. And here we repeat, go back up, and then resolve. Yeah, not too shabby. Let's add some drums and bass to this stolen melody, and then we'll play Clair de Lune again. So there you have it. Those are 3 ways that you can write a melody right out of thin air. First, you can go note for note, listen for the relationship between the notes, see what you like, and then either continue that or create a pattern. Second, we followed the chord tones. We picked 2 chords, and then we just picked notes from those chords, pitches from those chords, and moved along with the chords. And that's it. Added a little bit of ornamentation, and that's it. That's all you need. You can find a pattern and go from there if you wanted to even go further than that. Finally, we learned how to steal from a melody that we absolutely adore and take from it what we love and change the rest and create something totally new and our own out of it. We're writing like great artists now. Look at that. If you want to go even further with your melodies and take the next step, check out my free guide, 7 Ways to Write a More Effective Melody. Each tip gives you a powerful tool to help you refine your melody until you're satisfied with it. This works with any melody in any genre. And you can repeat the steps. Take the same melody through the steps again to continue refining it. Grab your free copy at justwritemusic.com. There's a link down in the doobly-doo. Thanks so much for watching and for hanging out with me today. Which technique was your favorite? Let me know down in the comments below. It's so great to have you here. I can't do any of this without you. You're great. I'm Avi, and don't forget to be awesome.